Hey guys, it's your boy Pat. Welcome back to the next episode of the Hollow Down Cigar Lounge podcast. So first time guest with us today is our homeboy from the group, Mr. Chad. Say what's up, Chad.
How you guys doing?
So there's a few reasons for this first time change today. One, we've been trying to do this a few times since kind of became Facebook friends with the group. But if you're in the Facebook group, you know this. If you don't, you're about to get some new knowledge and you should go find us. We do a Cigars for Warriors drive twice a year, and get more details on that later. But in a little bit, we're going to draw for some prizes from the people that donated that this lovely man sponsored for us and hooked us up on some prizes. So felt it was appropriate to bring him into the show today. Not going to let him tease you on that just yet, so we'll get more into that. But first things first, this is a cigar podcast. So what do you think we need to do, Chet?
We're going to smoke a cigar.
Hell yeah. That's the best answer of the day. So what we are smoking today is this lovely Adventura Navigator. Got a close-up coming at you right now. So what we're going to do is what we always do. And we are going to read this from Brain fart. Wake up, brain. We're going to read this online and see what's up. Now, when I was looking at this, it didn't actually have one on CI where we normally do it, and that's okay. Pulling this one from Neptune. So this is supposed to be a medium strength cigar. It's got a San Andres Maduro Mexican wrapper. All it really says is that it's a dark sweet Mexican wrapper with some Indonesian binders, Ecuador, Nicaraguan, Dominican fillers. And the only thing is that it has a potential for a spicy flavor profile accented with caramel notes. So it doesn't give, like some cigars will give you 20 freaking notes that they expect you to hit. This one keeps it kind of vague, so it's going to let your palate do its thing. It's going to kind of see what we feel out of it. So outside of potential rich tobacco, we're going to see if we get any spice or caramel out of it. I'm pretty sure Chad has actually smoked this blend before, haven't you?
Yeah, several times. And I was looking on the ADV website, and they listed a couple of notes like toffee and roasted nuts. Those were a few of the things that they said you should look for. Cool
deal. So this will be my first one smoking this particular blend. So what do you say we cut and light these babies up? And
what size are you smoking?
So this is the Toro, if you can believe that.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't expect any less.
Definitely not going to go less.
I have what's called the Pin. I think it's strange. Let's see here. Pinzone, which is a Robusto. It's 5.5 by 50.
Yeah, I had to look. They call this one the Cabral, which is a 6 by 54. So let's favorite part of the show right here.
This is my favorite part of any second of any day when I'm lighting a cigar, so makes all bad things go away.
100%.
At least for an hour.
That's got a good first hit. It's still a little hot out here today where I'm at, so things have been lighting very quickly outside the last few weeks. Man, I get spice right off the bat, not pepper bomb spice. We're not in judge territory or anything like that, but it's a good. So I've said this in the Facebook group before. I'm not quite as good as there's one part of your palate that I appreciate that I don't have is like I can usually tell if it's spice or harsh pepper. I struggle sometimes like getting between what type of spice, where sometimes I've noticed like on some blends you're able to pull out if it's baking spice or whatever. Does this feel more like heat spice or a baking, or like more of a
On the front end, I'm
spicy or
getting
something?
pepper for sure. Like, I think in most blenders, like front load cigars so that they're spicy in the first half inch, and then they should mellow out. And that's
Right, right.
that's pretty standard practice. But I think I'm getting like a pepper on the front end here. It's a little hot. Like my retro on that first hit was a little zingy.
Let's see.
The thing I like
Yep,
about this
for sure.
blend is that it does mellow out really nicely.
Well, looking forward to it because the construction is, especially in this Toro, it's very good. It's not very spongy. I'm a fan already.
Yeah, the particular one I have is really, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it has some tooth on it. It's a really nice wrapper sheen, and there's some bumps on there that whenever I see the bumps, I know it's going to be tasty.
Let's see. This one, now this one's not quite as toothy. May just not be as.
It's kind of luck of the draw, you know, because.
Yep. But I mean, it's good leaf, good smooth construction. I like it on appearance. Anyway, so fun part about this show, of course you know this, but the first time being on here is,
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Been trying to for a while. Had some issues learning to do this remote thing the first time with the extra gear that you don't see on the screen that I have behind me here. Done a whole lot of audio video, but I'm just now getting to the remote recording, so I've never really needed to do it before. So, it's kind of a first thing. So we got to learn a few technicalities together this morning. So that was fun.
Yeah. But, the other day we got to smoke a cigar together while we were practicing, so that was good too. So
absolutely. So nothing wrong with virtual Herfs, you know what I mean?
I see guys on a couple of the groups doing them, and I think like I was interested. There's a guy on one particular site that I follow on Facebook, and he does a virtual Herf, and like if you just contact him with a DM, he'll give you the link when he does it like once a week, and you can join. And I think it's a great way to meet people. And
now that we've done this, I kind of like the idea, and it wouldn't be, kind of start playing around with it and see if it's something we might can throw in the future for the Hollow Down group, because I think it's a pretty cool thing to do, and just sit here and talk like you're sitting around the fire pit or up at the lounge, but you're sitting wherever you are comfortable at home.
Yeah, that's something I was going to suggest to you or talk to you about, because I keep seeing different people doing it, and I'm like, well, why don't we try that?
We're definitely going to work on that now that this has kind of forced us to kind of play around and learn some things. Definitely going to see how that works out. Really, maybe with just me, you, and a couple others as a kind of initial test, and then if it works, we'll start opening it up and doing some things.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. It'd be fun to see how many people you could actually get on there.
Oh, yeah. I just pulled a Derek. I don't remember if it was within the last couple episodes. Man, I wish I could remember which cigar it was. I caught him just smacking his lips every time he pulled the draw off, and I've just caught myself doing that. That's a good sign, if you catch yourself smacking your lips.
Yeah, that means it's got a good flavor to you or taste on your mouth, right?
Right. Because I've had some that inhale, hit the palate fantastic, but leave you this bitterness on the lip, and this is not one of those. This is a good hit. So
the few times that I've smoked this, it's only been a few. I got this box about 2 months ago, so I probably smoked 3 or 4 of them. But it tends to sweeten up, which is why I like this blend. It's hot and peppery on the first half inch, and then it'll really mellow out. For me, it does, at least in this size. Maybe it's different in the Toro, but
about 3/4 of an inch now. We're getting close, so it's gonna do it. We'll do it here in the next minute. We'll see what it does.
I'm about right there. So that's where it kind of breaks. They talk about that, like a horse. Breaking a horse, you break a cigar, and you got to get through that first half to 3/4 of an inch. And then you really kind of start to see what the blend's about.
So, you told me this the other day. Throw you on the spot for a minute because I see that you're actually wearing the ADV shirt. Paired with the lovely Hollow Down hat. Appreciate the love on that one.
Yeah.
But I see the 100%. ADV shirt. Hell yeah. I know you'd gotten it at an event at your local bar, but you told me a little bit of some Adventura background that I wanted to see if you couldn't spit out again, because I thought it was some pretty cool information on the branding itself.
Well, I had to go back and do a little look on that because I had part of the story, but what I went back and did a little more research after we talked the other day. But Adventura actually started over in Switzerland, and it was a collaboration between, I can't remember his name, Marcel, I can't remember his last name, but Henderson Ventura is the owner of Adventura, but he also has a business partner, and they started in Switzerland. Marcel, I can't remember his last name, and I apologize, but he had a brick and mortar shop, met Henderson, and they decided that they were going to change the world. So it's like Swiss precision and, the Nicaraguan passion or whatever, or Dominican, right. Actually. So Henderson's from the Dominican Republic. But so they launched apparently around 2015 or 16 in Switzerland, and they were exclusive to Europe and Switzerland for 2 or 3 years, and I think that they may have come over to the U.S. around 2018 or 19. That's where I was thinking it was only a few years ago, but it was actually 2018 or 2019. Okay. And Secreto was the first U.S. retailer, which is my home shop, an hour and 15 minutes from me. It's the best cigar bar in the world. But anyway,
love it.
They were the first U.S. retailer. So they were the first exclusive shop to carry ADV. And as you know now, you can buy them at Smoke Inn, and all the big guys are carrying ADV. But so when I met Henderson, I just thought he's an interesting character. He was telling some stories about he smoked his first cigar when he was 8 years old, because his father is in the industry as well and was a master blender at Davidoff, had worked at Caldwell. William Ventura is his name, but he's very well known in the cigar industry as well. So Henderson grew up in the cigar world, so it was only a natural thing for him to end up here, right? Right.
You're in it, you're going to grow in it, and especially if it's something you enjoy, and it's hard not to, enjoy cigars if you've grown up in, especially if you've grown up in that atmosphere with it, appreciating them.
Yeah, he's very, the thing I liked about when we met him was he's very approachable. He's very down to earth. He just seems like a normal dude. Like when you talk to him, he's just there. He's normal. Sometimes those brand owners are pretentious, or you don't feel like you can approach them, but he made it feel like, hey, come approach me. Like he wanted people to be comfortable with him. So I like that about him. He's probably in his mid-30s now, I would guess.
Okay.
35, 36. He's super young for what he's doing, right?
And that makes a difference. I won't say the name on this show just because we're leaning towards ADV world, but we've got a couple other big time cigar owners that we all are able to communicate with because they communicate with the public. Sometimes make you feel like they're your best friend and you've never met them in person because they have that personality, and that goes a long way because you can have a great cigar, but if you have a good personality behind it, you're going to be interested more. You're going to enjoy the entire environment, not just smoking. You get to enjoy the events and stuff that they share. And so having somebody like that's
the face of their brand. Yeah,
face of the brand is definitely a good vibe to help with a cigar brand, because personality goes a long way, just like with your friends, family, and job. Product placement matters when you have somebody that's actually pretty cool behind it.
Right. Yeah, and I think you'll see like there's some brands out there, and I'm sure you're familiar with some of the brands that don't use the owners as the figureheads. They have, reps that go around and do most of their face-to-face stuff. So, and it's probably
Right.
because, like you said, they're maybe just a little more warm with the clients and things. So, better
There's
people. Some people, if you're smart and just because you can do something doesn't mean that you're a person that's, some people just do well with people. Some people do well with math or work or whatever. But just because you can come up with a product doesn't mean that you are the person that should be selling it. Or
exactly.
There's
definitely a
brand, right?
mental difference between skill set, creativity, and public personality. Sometimes it meshes, sometimes it doesn't. So while you were talking, I got past that mark, and I'm going to show it because probably going to lose this ash in a moment, but got past that inch mark, and it definitely started mellowing out for me. So I see what you're talking about.
And then about the same spot, it's really starting to soften up.
So this wasn't planned, but I know we were kind of talking about the other day. Kind of go off of this. We'll just smoke and enjoy this while we chat for a little while. So if anybody has watched this for more than once, I think it's probably been about 10-15 episodes back, but every once in a while I do an EDC show, which is just everyday cigar. It's nothing fancy. I didn't coin the term, but that's where it's not kind of a Herf conversation. It's just me smoking a cigar that we don't care about. I don't even review it. Talking about some cigar related topic, right? And several episodes back, I'd had a few people ask what my favorite cigar apps were. So I'm going to make an amendment to that. I don't want to make a whole show because I don't really feel appropriate blasting a company or a product. Just you're somebody that watches this and you're intrigued. So I've been using the Box Pressed app, and I'll put a screenshot here so you can know which one we're talking about. So I've been touting it a lot. It's great for putting in personal reviews, letting you search for cigars, gives you recommendations. You can see other people in the app, kind of like a Facebook style of cigar app, if you will. All of that is gravy. Couple of us in the group have learned that apparently it has a limit. If you are a small-time smoker, or you're like Mr. Perderma that we have that gets his bi-weekly shipment, that he smokes them as he gets them, you'd be fine. For a guy like me that generally keeps 1,000+ cigars on hand at a time because I like to let things age and rest longer than some people do, started having a hindrance on the storage capability. And I noticed that until I got, ooh, look at that ash.
Pretty good.
That's a good distraction.
Good construction too, because you can't get it to drop.
I accidentally tapped mine, so I lost it. But so I recommend the Box Pressed app if you're going to do reviews, you want to search some stuff. If you got more than about 250 cigars at a time, you may have an issue with your storage. And I think Justin was the other one that said he also had an issue once he got to about 300 cigars. It would just freeze up. Once you get under that number, it rocks solid. So I still post my reviews on it. I just pulled off my inventory doing it on a spreadsheet.
That's my favorite part of, just so you know, I don't think I've ever told you this, but I love watching the posts you put up and then the actual scores that the Box Press app creates for you based on how you plug information in, right?
Right.
I love those. I like looking at those. They intrigue me, and I don't have anything like that. I was considering it, but
it's cool because, like, in your case, even if you don't care whatsoever about the inventory, there's some apps that you have to have in your inventory to work. This one you don't. So you could put absolutely goose egg in your app, and you can still, like at the end of this, and I'm going to go pull up, go search for this cigar, and instead of adding it to your virtual humidor, just create a smoke session and put your rating. You can put as much or little info as you want. But what I like about that one is there's some other apps that have their own quote unquote proprietary scoring system, which is cool, but it's only apples to apples with other ratings in their app. Box Press takes a 5-star rating system, but between your 4 major scoring categories and computes it into the 100 rating that the cigar world uses. So you can see it, you can compare it, and whether you use the app or not, you know what it on a 100 scale, how that works. And even if you don't, everybody knows what 0 to 100 means, so it kind of keeps it simplified. So somebody else looking at it, like, you just catching the post, you know how I actually feel about it, and you get to see the notes I put on there. So
and you had mentioned to me the other day that it also shows you, sometimes you can look at other people's scores for the same stick if it's been logged or something.
Yeah, so if if I put a smoke session for this Navigator, I can go back and look at mine later. If I forget what I viewed on it, I can research it. And once you search a cigar, at the bottom it shows you smoke sessions. You can select between everybody that's posted one in that app or just yours. So you can go back and look at just what you posted, but you can also go and see what other people have posted and see their reviews, and it'll show you an average rating from people that have posted. So of course, the more people that post a rating, the better the averages get. You can see what other people comment on it. I said you can put in as much as little as you want, so you could do a full rating like you kind of see I try to do. But if you're a newbie and you don't really understand palate, but if it's good or bad or not, you can just do the star system. Well, I can see that. As long as you've done it in the app, I can see that. So you kind of get a feel for what other people are doing it as well. So
yeah, I like to see what other people think of the same kind of, because everybody has different tastes, right? You might smoke a cigar and give it an 80, and I might smoke a cigar and give it a 95, and it's just how it is. We all have different tastes. So I like seeing differences in people that I know, what they think about certain things.
Right. So it's kind of cool, I think, that you can, you can do that, and it kind of lets you share the cigar world in a different way on a virtual level. So, kind of cool that you like them, which I do it for myself, but it's always good if somebody else gets something out of it. So
I think that lots of people in the group enjoy them, and they probably just don't say anything. But especially, I would think new smokers probably really appreciate that, because when you first get into cigars, there's so many choices that you don't even know where to start. And so sometimes as a new smoker, it's overwhelming. And just to be like, there's a lot of new members in our group. I don't know if they're new smokers or not, but it's probably helpful for them to see, hey, this guy smokes this, and maybe I'll give that a try. Or, hey, he didn't like that. So at least gives you some place to start if you know someone that smoked it and liked it or didn't like it. Kind of
helps part of that community thing. And, I think I joked around this with you when you joined in is, if you watch a podcast, the first 3 were rough because we didn't know what's going on. And it was about 4 or 5. We inadvertently shot the whole script in the ground and ended up talking about friendship therapy. You always hear the Cigar Brotherhood, which is great. You can talk cigars, but the friendship therapy, it kind of gives you an excuse to kind of build this family-oriented community, right? So, something that simple, and we've seen it in the group, something that simple, just being able to share interest in likes and dislikes, you end up creating new friends, i.e. just like we have here.
Yeah.
We ran into each other on another cigar group and just came over and ended up helping to form this thing, and here we are with this little bubble of a family. So the whole atmosphere kind of vibes together pretty well, I think.
Yeah, since I've joined Hollow Down, I've cultivated several friendships with guys from the group. I can think of 3 on hand right now that I message weekly.
Right.
So it's like, it's pretty amazing, I think, is your point, that, we share this, but I think we end up sharing a lot more after, we get down to the brass tacks and get to know each other, right? But I think it's helped me to reach out to people, and the people in the group are amazing because, I see all the time this camaraderie, people passing cigars back and forth. You and I have done trades I love doing cigar
Yep.
trades because it keeps things lively for me. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that you might not smoke, and you got a whole bunch of stuff that I don't smoke. And we share
Right.
it, and then we talk about it, and it just gives us more excuse to talk to each other.
You talk about gateway drugs, and some are bad, but this is probably the best gateway drug on the planet because it gateways into friendships.
Right.
It's
And
stuff that's
I've
beneficial and
enjoyed that,
enjoying.
and we've done trades with several other guys in the groups, and I'm hoping that trading kind of takes off a little even further. Like, I know that we have a tight knit little group of kind of the OG guys that have been here for the whole time, and
Right.
that's the group I'm talking about. But we need to branch it out and maybe get some of the newer people involved with some kind of a trading system or something. Maybe you and I can talk about that. Like,
Yeah, and I like it. Just and some of it just supporting. It's not that either me or you are rich, but we've done cigars for so long that we've had more time to kind of learn our palates and branch out these different brands. And a couple of us sent a newer cigar smoker lately. And I won't drop his name on here without his permission, but he kind of made some comments that, man, I just don't know what I think about this, and we sent him some things to try, and he's starting to post what he likes and doesn't like, and it could have been stuff that he would have never known before until you got introduced it by somebody else. There's some brands that even for me, smoking 15 years now, there's some stuff that I'd never seen that y'all smoked. So there's always a chance to learn and grow, and so the trading aspect helps. And nothing against any of the other cigar groups, because every group has its own niche, but we're not focused around a cigar store, so we don't have to limit ourselves to production. We can trade and talk about other things where you might not can on those, because they have their contracts and they have their advertising and markets, and that's not what we do. So it kind of works that in our group we can do this trade and open
I like
discussion.
the fact that in our group, like being a closed private group, like you put up a link to BL Luxuries when they have I like, because you can't do that in any other groups, right?
Right.
So it's nice that, hey, I found this deal, here you go. Like for instance, I found this crazy sun-grown deal last year. It's like $70 for 10 cigars, a humidor, a lighter, a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
And it's like $7 a cigar. It's a no-brainer, right? Like,
Yeah, 100%.
It's nice that we can post that stuff and kind of help each other out.
In terms of helping each other out, I think we need to kick over to the main purpose of this show. I'm not going to tease you and give it to you right away. I'm going to make you watch the show. Hopefully you enjoy us rambling and talking about whatever BS we come up with today. But so the main reason we pulled Chad onto this show was our Cigars for Warrior Drive, and you see one of the images down below. We're a official partner with them. Unlike other stores, you're not going to see us listed on their website because we are not a brick and mortar location. So we don't have a physical drop point for you to go drop off sticks. We are an online forum. We're all operating out of our house in terms of this venture. So what we do is we put on right now 2 drives a year, one in the summer and one around New Year's. And as we grow, that could change, but that's our current atmosphere. Well, we just finished our summer drive, and you want to talk about an increase. Our New Year's drive last year, I think I went back and looked, it was 86 cigars that we donated as a group, kind of getting going. We popped out 400 as a group, and me and you were about this much of it. There was several people that pulled in, and you had an idea to kind of catch and hook people with an incentive. So we're a small group. We don't do paid sponsorships at this point or anything like that. So you came up with some Dunbarton, swag and cigars, and we had 3 different prizes. And, you just had to donate X amount of cigars to get into these 3 prizes. And what you guys are going to see is we are about to do a live drawing to see who's going to win these prizes. And just to make things simple, so you don't have to catch what I'm saying, I'm going to post the pictures up real quick while I'm loading this up of the 3 different prizes: the grand prize, second prize, and the third prize. And just to recap, so there's no misconception, what we decided to do is everybody that donated 40 cigars or more got into the grand prize. Donated 25 cigars or more got to the second prize, and as long as you donated 10 cigars, you got into the third prize. So we're going to draw at the top, and once you win, you get pulled out. You're exempt from the other one, so that way you don't potentially have the same person winning multiple prizes here. So,
but if you don't win, maybe we should go a little further there. If you don't win, you're in the top tier. Your name gets pulled and goes to the next one. So
correct.
Yeah, you are eligible if you're to win a tier below you, as long as you haven't won.
Good catch. So, you only get pulled out if you win a previous prize. So, I have this is a random spin the wheel app and running it off my phone, but you're going to see this because I'm going to overlay it as we go here. So this is for the first prize. Again, this is what you're seeing right now is what this is up for. So we had 2 people who brought in enough cigars to get into the grand prize. And that, we're going to say first names only on here. That was Eldon and Martin. Now, we all know Eldon kicked it out of the park. Man, he sent me donations twice. He sent me one and then came back and said, you know what, I got more. I was like, man, we're going to do another drive. He said, nope. So he sent them anyway. So out of the grand prize, this wheel that you're seeing now, CFW grand prize wheel, is Eldon and Martin. So you ready to see who's going to win this top one?
Let's do it.
All right, so spinning the wheel. Let's see who's going to get it. Oh, man, Martin's getting the grand prize.
All right, congratulations, Martin.
Good job, my man. So that first picture you saw, that's coming from, well, all these are coming from Chad. I'm trying to spit out a sponsor here. No, Chad's just the badass dude of the day. So, modesty's cool and all. I'll call it like it is. We love you, brother.
I just love giving back to the cigar community. That's it. I like growing it. Great.
Absolutely. So, there's your first prize. So, we're going to carry over to the second prize. So, again, reminder, this is what you're seeing right here. So, allow me 2 seconds. So, we're going to go into this second prize wheel. And we are going to pull Martin out of it. Sorry, buddy. You got your grand prize already. So, out of this one, you had the remaining people that are eligible for the second prize. You gave in 25 cigars or more. You've got Eldon drops back into this one. Ryan and Katie. So we're going to start this wheel up. This is for the second prize. And here we go. Oh, it's on the line. Hey, Eldon, there you go. You got your second prize. So, all right, so that one's going to Eldon. I wish you could see this. You'll see it when I show you the video, but it's actually kind of fun to watch as it happens. And your third prize. Let's go back in here. And so now we're going to remove Eldon and Martin because they've already gotten prizes. So your remaining 3 for the third prize is Katie, Ryan, and Brianna. So one of you 3 are going to win our third place prize. Bear with me a moment to resave this. And third prize. All right, let's spin the wheel on this third prize. Who's it going to be? And that one's going to Brianna.
All right, congratulations.
Good stuff. So, The only requirement that we will have, and I'll message you all individually after this airs, is since we're not a retail shop, but I still do have to verify age. If you've done this with me before on a giveaway or anything, cool. Don't need credit card information. I'll have you send me securely just an image of your ID, just so we're kosher with laws. We're making sure that they're sending them to appropriate places of legal age. I personally know all three of you are good, but we're going to do it legal. And after that, I'll ship them to you free of charge, and we'll get them to you. So, Chad, again, I thank you for hooking everybody up on these prizes. We've got some different ideas that, we'll come up with in the future.
Yeah.
So
I was so impressed with the jump we made. So I think it's a fantastic way to kind of spur engagement.
Right. Agreed.
And gets up the morale and gets people like to win prizes.
And you're doing it for a good cause, because if you don't know Cigars for Warriors, go look them up. cigarsforwarriors.org. They their model is volunteer basis, and it may have changed by now, but the last time I saw, I think periodically they tally how many cigars that they've sent out since they started. And the last time I saw the number, I think it was 1.3 million that they've donated since they started this. And I'm sure that's gone up by then. So they may have updated it by the time I get to edit this and push it out. But everybody donates cigars, like you had the brick and mortars. If in between drives that we do, go on their website, you can look up for donation centers. One of your brick and mortars most likely are involved in this, or somebody nearby. You can physically drop them off there as well. And they get requests from deployed and active troops stationed wherever, and they pack up these cigars and send them to them. So if they're in an area that they can't get a hold of cigars, we send them. And just like we talk about it being friendship therapy, that gives them some decompression, while they're doing some crazy things as well.
Yeah.
And as a Marine vet myself, never got to deploy because of a nasty knee injury, but it's very much appreciated. So I know if I appreciate it, the guys that are deployed and are doing the things that we all train to do are very appreciative of it, and they send posts as well, thanking, so they kind of get some feedback there. They'll post back on their Facebook pages and everything. So that's where these go to.
What a small thing we can do to help them. It's a huge thing for them, but it's small for us, right? That's how I look at it.
I mean, like in this case, our massive involvement here is, you set up some prizes, and I stored cigars, for 2 months and packaged them off and shipped them. And when I shipped them off to CFW, it was 18 pounds of cigars that I got to send them just from our little group. So you think of it in a empirical data format, it's 400 cigars with 18 pounds of cigars that we sent. And that's not including the packaging. It was like 18 and a half, almost 19 pounds. I'm just talking about just the cigars and the tobacco that we got to send them. So it's a pretty cool venture. And every time it may not be a 3-prize venture. We may have one really good prize. We may have 5 little ones. Who knows what we're going to do?
Right.
So we'll come up with something different every time, So look forward to the next one. If you want to participate, which I highly encourage you to do, you can send me one cigar. I don't care what you send, just whatever that you can do. And I've also had people that didn't want to ship them, so they sent money, and I got cigars on their behalf. So that's an option too if you don't want to mess with shipping. The end result is the same: sending cigars to our troops. And
I think that CFW will actually take checks too and do the same thing, right?
They will.
I've seen some posts where people, like cigar shops, will send 100 cigars and $200 or something.
And they take the cash, and depending on the need at the time, a lot of times that money can help go towards covering the shipping costs, because that's their major cost, is the shipping price involved in shipping, because they're getting all these cigars.
Oh yeah,
so
overseas,
that helps
right?
them with shipping too.
Yeah, right. And the other thing I was thinking the other day, like I know I threw a cutter in that I got with some cigars that I bought for this project, but in the future, I think that's probably a good thing to try to start sending in. Like I'm going to try to start sending in like at least a lighter or two and a cutter or two, with each one of my donations, so that because those guys have to be over there. Where are they getting that stuff, right? I don't know.
And it depends on where they're at. You know, you've got some
probably
places,
can't have enough of that, right?
Right. Oh no, is there's some places, you know, that are tobacco friendly areas, you know, that you may have access to purchase those at a little store or whatever if you didn't bring it with you. And there's some places you may be in the middle of nowhere that you don't have access to it, and they're, you know, they maybe, we don't think about this being at home, but for all we know, they pulled a knife and a match to making it work, or, you know.
For sure. I'm sure that probably happens a lot, right? They're doing the old Hannibal from the A-Team and just biting the end off of it. But speaking of the cigar, what are you getting right now? Because this thing is transitioned into like I'm getting some like molassesy sweet, like a really sweet note on it. It's smooth. So
it's ironic because I was thinking about that as we were talking. I was going to kind of segue back into that. So I'm pretty much getting right into the almost technically the last third here. And the pepper, as you suggested, as farther we got, the more it kind of mellowed out. I'm getting still a bit of spice, but I didn't know if it was molasses, but there's something sweet, but it's a heavy
caramel-y,
sweet. So.
Maybe caramel, or I can't. And it's kind of between caramel and molasses for me. But then there's
the only reason I would say
pepper,
caramel is only because it's in the review. But palate alone, I don't know if I would have been able to pull that out per se. I actually might lean more towards a molasses feel than a caramel.
I am too, actually, but yeah.
Doesn't quite feel as sweet and bright as caramel, you know, some caramel sticks do. So it's good. It balances with the spice on the back end.
Well, I think when I think caramel, I think dairy, and you usually get like a little bit of a milky taste with a caramel note, and I'm not getting that at all. Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah, that's a good way to word it.
Yeah, it's more like a molasses cookie, that flavor.
Ooh, that's a really good analogy, actually.
But I still have white pepper too. I got a little burn in my nose still, just a little, but it's different kind of pepper.
But it's there. But I like the cookie reference because it's just enough chalkiness, like not dirty, chalky, chewy, but just enough like to represent that cookie feel. So that's a good way to say that.
It seems like it's just right on the front of my tongue too.
Yeah.
What did you say? You liked what? I didn't hear that.
I said I just like the blend overall because it's not, you know, you have some cigars that try to pull spice, pepper, different things, and they end up being a little too
much.
Maybe even if they're not harsh, they can be bitter. And I appreciate when I don't get that bitter because that'll end up on the back, at least for me on the back of my palate. I'll get these nice notes in the front, and about the time I exhale, about 2-3 seconds later, you get this you know, on the back of your palate, and I'm not getting that whatsoever. It is staying smooth on the back end, which goes a lot into, you know, the time spent doing a good blend. So,
right, and I think a lot of it has to do with ADV ages their tobacco a little longer than a lot of the big brands, if you will. Right, they're not trying to push out 2-year-old leaf. It's sitting 4 or 5 years before they're rolling it. So.
Bear with me for 1 second.
Or putting it in market, I guess.
What camera issue right now?
I'm all the way down to the band, Pat. You had an extra inch.
I know, I had an extra inch.
Yeah.
So this is
take my wrapper off.
So I do smoke. Man, that's just it's simple but pretty band. I'm a sucker for bright blue. Bright blue and orange are my two things. Orange goes back to the high school I grew up in. Well, not even high school, the school I grew up in, but this is my second color. It's just a good, simple band. I like the metallic look to it, so the presentation is solid as well.
Have you had any of the ones with the metal bands on them like this?
The first one I had, was is it the Chancellor?
Yeah, I think, and that was like a silver steel band.
Yeah, so you had actually sent me that on a trade the first time I had it, and I did not know that any of their bands had the metallic foil. I thought they were all this design until I pulled it off, and I was highly impressed because the subtleties of presentation go a long way with somebody like
you can see that.
Like that.
So that's a full metal band, and these only come on the Chancellor, the Queen's Pearl, and the King's Gold series. So they put the 3 metal bands on those, and then the rest are paper. But they all are the same band, but some are made from metal, some are made from paper. I like the logo. I think it's clean and easy. And
I've never had the Kings or the Queens. I snagged a Queens. Yep, I got one of those recently, super recent. So I'm going to let it rest for a little bit before I try it out. I haven't smoked either one of those two yet. So
this is probably, I used to smoke a lot of Davidoff Grand Cru. That was my favorite morning cigar, and I've since not bought any, and I bought 3 boxes of these because they're about $8 compared to 24 or 27, and they're phenomenal. And then this is the other guy I smoke a ton of that's ADV, and that's the King's Gold Tooth, which is a small, it's a very short, it's 4.5, so box press.
Yep,
that's one of my favorites, and that goes way up. That's on the the strong side, right? Lots of chocolate and molasses,
and I appreciate size differences. We throw jokes together because my favorite size is Gordo, so we throw jokes because I like the big boys. 2 reasons: one, camera don't do it justice. I have some really big bear paw hands, so it's just comfortable. I don't have to crunch down, but also try to, when time allows, bigger size also equals more smoking time in almost every blend. So, I have the extra couple hours to smoke. But a lot of the times on the shows, we have smoked Gordos, but a lot of times we pull the Toro just because of timing purposes. But I have some of the, Robustos and the Coronas. If I'm getting off work and I don't have a couple hours and I got 40, 45 minutes, I still have those, So I as much as I lean towards the Gordos, I have a mixture of different sizes because size equals time in cigar.
I'm like that too. Like my favorite size, probably hands down, is Toro. Because as you know, I like it because it's the way the blender intended it to be. They set up with Toro and they scale up and down from there typically. Right. That's normal, probably 80 or 90% of the time. But I like having a lot of these small cigars around because if you just need a 45-minute, fix, if you will, you can just get one in real quick if you don't have the whole time to smoke, and then you don't feel like you're wasting one. I hate lighting a Toro and then leaving half of it in the ashtray because I ran out of time or I had to go somewhere with my wife or whatever, right?
It's like talking about trades, you had sent me a couple of firecrackers a while back. Well, I got to smoke them recently. I had a side job that was an hour away. You know what? That was a perfect short little drive. Yeah. Because I finished both of them about 5 minutes away from my destination. So it turned out to be a perfect time.
That pledge is a banger. I sent you one of those, right?
Yes, man. That was killer. I have another one.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? I actually have, without looking, I think it's a Toro of the Pledge. Might have to get you back on and do a review for that one because that's a super flavorful cigar. So,
yeah, I've smoked more of the firecrackers than anything because I bought a box and I literally have about 4 left. And I've sent a few out to friends. So I've probably smoked 10 or 12 of those, but I've only smoked probably 3 or 4 of the, it's the Robusto size. I can't remember the name. It has a funny name, but
I looked. I don't remember.
Yeah, but it's the Pledge blend, right? But it's the shorter of the Vitolas, and I've smoked probably 3 or 4 of those, and it's a great cigar. But I think they actually make it in some longer versions now. There's like an LE, like more of a figurado style. I saw it just came out. Have you seen that one? It was like
only in pictures. I haven't seen it in person yet.
Yeah, I'd love to smoke another one.
I think the one I've got on hand, because I have my boxes that I get, but I smoke so much, I get a lot of samplers, and even on smoking, we can get 1s and 2s on your own. I get all kinds of crap, but I think I've got. I think the one that I grabbed was a Toro, maybe a box press. I forget. I have to go back and look, because as y'all know, I do kind of exaggerated aging. I throw my stuff in the bottom and let it rotate up. So by the time I smoked it, it's been months. Instead of the normal week or two that's kind of your minimum suggested. I like the super rest. I'm kind of weird.
I do too. I do a little of both, but I just do it kind of inadvertently. I probably purchased so many cigars that I just can't smoke them fast enough, so they're aging on their own, right? Like,
that's a
so
bad problem.
I'll get a box and smoke a couple. I always crack a box and smoke some right away, and then I'll smoke them a month from now. I'll smoke one, and 2 months from now I'll smoke one. And I basically work my way through a box in 2 years. So by the time I'm done, I've experienced all the aging. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, I mean that's a fantastic way to do it, because cigars just aging and resting in your own local humidity can affect how it mellows out or doesn't. So,
and I've had boxes. A lot of the, like, when we talk about big brands, small brands, there's some brands out there that age prior to sale, right? And ADV is one of them. Fuente is another. But if you go with some of the other brands, they're pushing product out, in my opinion, too fast, because they're turning dollars, right? So those cigars are typically great cigars, but not yet. That's how, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, normally I'll get one of those boxes in the, $150 to $200 price range, and I'll smoke one right away. And you'll notice that it has like a bad aftertaste, or like almost formaldehyde or ammonia. That's young tobacco that shouldn't have been smoked yet. Anytime you get that ammonia taste on a cigar, the tobacco it's too young. It has not aged long enough. And then you'll smoke one 6 months from then, it's a whole different experience.
Well, I'm hitting the band right now, and got just a hair bit of pectin overload. Not bad, just enough that it needed help coming off. But still came off together.
These come off good, but I don't know if you remember trying, or you haven't taken one of these metal ones off yet.
One.
They're SOB.
The one that you sent me, I just smoked it recently. I'm pretty sure it was the Chancellor. That is the first and only one that
what I've learned is you don't pull the band off these, you just slide it off the top and then take it apart, because it's so strong and there's so much glue on there. I don't know if you can see. Let me see here.
Yeah, it felt like it was trying to rip the metal out.
Can you see the line where the glue starts? It's like a thick rubber glue. And the first couple times I tried to take one off, what I did was I'd reach in there and I had to put so much force on it that I was literally like denting the wrapper, and I actually damaged one cigar. So I just start sliding them off now, and then I take them apart.
I'll remember that, because I remember I had hell getting it off, and I didn't want to damage it either, because
right. And then
cool bands.
By the time it's up there, the cigar is warm and it's a little more tender, right? So any pushing you do is going to push right into the cigar. Right. I screwed one up, and I learned real quick just to slide it off the top if I could.
Well, this is the part of the show I hate the most. It is the time we got to wrap it up and close off and stand by till next time. So we're both pretty much to the kind of the same area here. Final notes on the cigar. It started with, kind of a good spice hit. Ended with more of that, and your analogy was perfect, that more of a molasses cookie. I do think I agree to that more than the pre-stated potential caramel note. I think I do agree more on the molasses, but it's very smooth, very well constructed. The burn has stayed almost dead even the entire time. Even being outside and having some wind gusts, I'm not getting much waving. Oh, absolutely. But I thank you for coming on for the first time. Hopefully it's not the last time.
I loved it. We'll definitely
especially do it pulling you in as a moderator for the group. I think it's kind of cool to get you on the podcast every once in a while. And today's kind of a good test. So we'll obviously talk about some things when we get off air. But thank y'all for hanging out, joining with us, getting to experience the CFW, our first kind of more or less live drawing. Of course, it'll be delayed for y'all by the time you actually see it edited, but the drawing itself was done live, so fresh and clean.
I'm sure you'll just post the results, right? In the page
honestly,
prior to the thing coming out, or no?
Honestly, I haven't decided yet because we teased them that the results would come out in the next episode, and so there's always
watch. There you go.
Yeah, make them watch. So I may stick to my guns on this one, and which would be about a week or two delay by time, because we just posted one. I try to give it some time.
That's not bad.
I may just make them wait and watch the episode. We'll see. And then after the episode, I'll post it in case anybody misses it. But I may stick to my guns on this. We'll see. But if you want to know more about Cigars for Warriors, links down in the show notes. But cigarsforwarriors.org. More than welcome to jump in with any of your local B&Ms, brick and mortars. If you want to join us on our endeavor, feel free to set some aside. We'll do our next drive towards the end of the year for New Year's. Link up with us that way. Everything else you need to know is in the show notes. Feel free to send us an email, join the Facebook group, drop some comments. We like being in touch. We've corresponded with some people that we've met on YouTube in the past. So, Chad, appreciate you for coming on. It's been a good time, man.
Thank you so much for having me on.
And you know the drill. Stay safe and hollow down.